because nobody's like you.
Hi, I'm Laura Handke, and I'm on a mission to help people stop being afraid of being themselves. Thank you so much for joining me today for the cycle of transformational voice breath-based vocalization. Now, you will have a PDF diagram that you can refer to, but this is just a really quick, brief mini voice lesson to demonstrate what you're going to see on that diagram, along with a little bit about the topic of resonance, because we want to get you speaking in your authentic voice. So let's just dive right in and start with the posture. When you're getting up in front of an audience and you want to speak or sing, this is the kind of posture you want to have in your body. You want to pretend that there's a filament pulling your head right up to the top of the ceiling. So that way your spine is nice and straight and you just feel like you're being supported that way. Now, you don't want your chin to be too much tucked under or up too much, but most of us have a tendency to kind of go like this just a little bit, so you might want to slightly tuck your chin. Now let's move down to the shoulders. You want your shoulders to be nice and relaxed. Many of us carry tension in our shoulders, so it might help to pretend that you have 10-pound weights in both of your hands. That'll kind of pull your arms down in an imaginary way so that your shoulders will relax. Now, you want your feet to be right about hips width apart, and you want your feet to be pointed straight forward on the ground. And you want to make sure that your knees are not locked. So you can move like this just a little bit. And the other thing is maybe just slightly tuck your seat bones under, because a lot of us have a tendency to kind of have a little sway back thing going on. So if you tuck those just slightly, this is the posture that you want to have. So with that, let's talk just a little bit about the rib cage and the belly plop. This is a really critical piece of learning to speak in your authentic voice. And for some of it, it's a little counterproductive, because so many of us have spent so much of our life sucking in our stomach. It's a natural reaction when we're in a fearful situation or something that makes us nervous. Those abdominal muscles will clench. And also, a lot of us spend a whole big chunk of our lives trying to look thin. So a lot of times we have to unlearn that whole belly clenching process. So I am going to take you down on the floor and show you what the breathing process looks like from that perspective, because gravity really helps us. But what you want to keep in mind is that really quickly, just get skinny, bring those rib cages out nice and expanded, and then relax the belly. So take a minute and just see what this looks like on the floor. And if you have a yoga mat, put it on the floor and try it this way at home. So now that you know what the rib cage is supposed to look like and how you want that belly to look when you're breathing, it should go ahead and relax and come out when you're inhaling, and then go ahead and come down as you're exhaling and you're beginning to speak, okay? So that's the breathing portion, that's the inhalation portion. With that, let's move right on to onsets. Now, what I want you to keep in mind is that onsets are really only pertinent when the phrase, the word that you're beginning to speak starts with a vowel. That's because consonants kind of take care of their own sound, because your tongue and your lips and your teeth have their jobs to do. So if you say a word that starts with T, T, S, F, all of that kind of thing, don't have to worry about onsets with consonants, but you do with vowels. And this is why. Many of us are very prone to what is called a glottal onset. That's Glottal. How you want your vocal folds really to be when you're speaking and singing is they should be flowing naturally, with air flowing between them as you're vocalizing. But a lot of people, and if you start working on this process, you'll start hearing it in other people's voices. They start with their vocal folds pushed together, and then the air comes out and forces them apart. It sounds kind of like it does when you're clearing your throat. like that. That's kind of an over exaggeration, but if you listen to certain singers that are popular on the radio right now, you can hear a lot of that kind of a tightened sound at the beginning of a vowel. You actually want to avoid that because it's really tough on your throat, and in many cases can lead even to needing to have vocal surgery to have vocal nodes removed. At the very least, that irritation will cause mucus, and you will want to clear your throat, which causes more mucus, which makes you want to clear your throat more. So it's an irritating pattern. So that's the glottal, and what you really want is a coordinated onset. And what that is, it's the vocalization, the sound, and the breath coming out almost simultaneously. So your vowel will sound like E, I, O, and such. Now, if you have a little trouble getting from the glottal onset to the coordinated onset, all you have to do is have an aspirated onset. And what that means is you put a little tiny H in the front. Ha, E, I, like that. And it helps you avoid those glottal onsets. So those are the first 3 key pieces in the cycle of breath-based vocalization: the posture, the inhalation, and the onset. The rest of the cycle is more meant for people who are singing rather than speaking, but I just want to run over it very briefly. So you're talking, suddenly you're singing, right? Well, that's because all singing really is vocalization sustained on the breath. So that's what the sustaining part means. That's when you're singing. And then when you come to the end of the phrase and you're ready to stop and take another breath, that's the release. You just release that phrase of verbiage, and then you take another breath and you start all over again. So that, my friends, in a very small nutshell, is the cycle of breath-based vocalization, all of which will help get you speaking in your most authentic voice, the range that your body really wants to speak in, to sound like, that is most pleasing to the ear. So with that, let's move right on to one more key piece, which is resonance. Now, resonance is the quality that allows your voice to be heard all the way to the back of the room. You might be in front of an audience of 500 to 1,000 people and not even need a microphone when you are speaking with resonance. We call this being in the mask, the buzzy spot. And there's a couple of ways that you can help understand when you are in that resonance space. I'm going to give you one silly little example. Is we're going to sound like a cow right now, so please feel free to join me in doing this and go, kind of sounds like a cow. So you probably feel some kind of buzziness going on, a vibration that happens inside your vocal cavity. That is a good way to know if you are in resonance. And one way that you can get to that spot, let's say you're ready to stand up and give a speech, or you're just talking and you want to improve your authentic vocal quality, is you can use M and N words. They will help get that voice right into the buzzy spot so it will be resonant and it will carry. So one example is just to go, nah, 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 like that with an N, and that will bring you right into resonance. And then you can use an M word. We like money. Money's always a good one. And just go, money, money, money. And you'll hear your voice fly across the room and begin to carry. So that's it for this little tiny mini voice lesson for today. The cycle of breath-based vocalization and being resonant so your voice will carry. These tips will help you get you speaking in your authentic voice.
Because nobody's like you.